This beer is a love-hate relationship with me. Like I said, I live 2.5 hours away, and Sam is an unfortunate person that he puts up with me to go to his brew pub and drink all of his beer. And when I try to actually fill a growler of the Russian River Consecration up, the bartenders look at me and they just say no. Too big of a beer, too expensive, it cannot happen. Sam's in the bathroom. Vinny has to come up. You've already missed it, dude. You might go. Vinny has to come up and tell his own staff to actually fill a growler of this beer up. Shh. Quiet down. We're talking better. You're all drunk. Be quiet. This beer is actually one of my favorites. I don't like to lay claim to fame of best beers in the world of whatever style, but in my opinion, I am extremely lucky to live next to a brewer who's only a couple hours away. That I've bought beers from around the world in this style, and I think I have an okay understanding of beer, but you can buy beers from Belgium, you can buy beers from anywhere, but you might as well buy a beautiful beer by Russian River in Santa Rosa, California, because in my opinion, it's one of the best beers out there. And I will be wanting a larger glass of this.
Ken doesn't know it, but Brian's trading away his stock in Sierra Nevada. Which I gladly take. There's really only 2 beers in my refrigerator at home, Sierra Nevada and Orval. So you're drinking Consecration now. This is the third line, the third beer of our family of barrel-aged beers, where we're matching specific types of wine barrels with a specific beer. The first one we did was Temptation, which is a blonde ale-aged in Chardonnay barrels. We then made Supplication, which is a brown ale aged in Pinot Noir barrels, and with that one we add sour cherries. With the Consecration, it's a dark ale aged in all Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, and in this case we add 30 pounds of currants to each wine barrel. If you ever tried to take currants out of a wine barrel, it's the biggest freaking pain in the ass. Although I know there's a couple guys on stage that have brewed with currants before, and they are a pain to work with, but it's a huge part of the beer. And the common thread between all these beers is that we're using Brettanomyces, which these guys call wild yeast, and I have to beg to differ. It's not wild yeast. It's only wild because winemakers are pussies and they're afraid of it. I want to make a patent here that we never say Brettanomyces is a wild yeast. That's only because winemakers are afraid of it. And I'm in the middle of wine country. Natalie and I make beer in the middle of wine country, and we get so much shit from winemakers that come in, and if we go to a winery and we give them one of our bottles of our funky beer, they won't open it in their winery. They're so scared of what we do.
Don't you and Natalie have to put on hazmat suits when you walk in with wineries? That's what I thought.
I was fortunate enough to give the keynote speech 2 or 3 years ago, a year after Sam did it. Sam's a tough act to follow. This is at the Craft Brewers Conference, and there was a picture of Natalie and I wine tasting at a little winery called Copan, and we dressed up in hazmat suits. Like, you wouldn't even know it was us, and we had goggles on and everything, and Wells, the winemaker, was pulling the wine out to us, because the joke was that he wouldn't let us in because we were covered in Brett and all these funky things. The winemaker for Kendall Jackson, Randy Ohm, Randy doesn't know it yet. It's going to become a label. He and I were, and Natalie and another friend of ours were sitting at the pub one day drinking Beatification, which is our spontaneous fermented beer. And Randy goes to me, and he takes it, he smells it, he sips it, and he goes, "Is this legal?" And about half an hour later, I bring something else out, and he does the same thing. He's like, no, Vinny, I'm serious. Is this legal? So we have a lot of fun in wine country with what we do. But our overall theme, as I was getting at, was the fact that we match a specific type of beer with a wine barrel. And this being all Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, it's all American oak, which really differs for us. Getting a little bit specific, the American oak is a tighter porousness of wood as opposed to French oak, which is more porous. So the bacterias and the Brettanomyces, which is a more aggressive yeast, doesn't impermeate the wood and doesn't impregnate the wood as much. So as you carry these barrels over, they're not as aggressive barrels. So this has more of a clean sourness, and then it kind of goes away as compared to if you've ever had the temptation or the supplication before, which are much more lingering and they're harder. There's a harder edge to those beers, and for us, it's getting harder and harder to get Chardonnay barrels and to get Pinot barrels. So the consecration has become kind of our main barrel beer, and we only put this in barrels for 6 months as compared to 12 or 15 months. So, but even at 6 months in the barrel, a month of production, 3 months, 2 or 3 months in the bottle, we're still talking about a 9 or 10 month beer, and that's still almost like making a white wine in the wine industry. So one of my goals has always been to get 10% of our production to be barrel and sour type beers, and we just hit that mark with our new brewery, and I love that. I mean, it's not like, and there's some great American